The NFL playoffs are where the best of the best teams from the regular season compete for the chance of a Super Bowl. As much as you would expect every game to be fiercely contested, that isn't always the case. From the Eagles humbling the Giants back in 2023 to Patrick Mahomes taking no prisoners in the AFC divisional round, here are some of the heaviest defeats of each of the last 5 playoff seasons. We are starting with a game most Colt fans would want to forget. Back in January 2019, the Kansas City Chiefs were hosting the Indianapolis Colts in the 2019 AFC divisional round.
What stuck out about his performance?
Both teams were aware that only one of them would progress to the next stage, but little did they know that one of them was about to turn into a joke. It was the Chiefs that started out strongly with Damian Williams dashing for a 10-yard touchdown early in the game. And if there was anything colder than the weather that day, it was Tyreek Hill's effortless evasive runs. While the Chiefs' offense was sharp as ever, the same couldn't be said about the Colts. 4 straight 3-and-outs to start the game is not how you're going to beat a team that went 12-4 in the regular season. But they did eventually find their stride when Najee Goode blocked a punt and Zach Pascal recovered it in the end zone. Suddenly, it was 17-7, and the Colts seemed to be back in the game, but that was short-lived because somehow they managed to make the Chiefs' struggling defense look like an impenetrable force. By the end of the game, the Chiefs won by 18 points. And what was sweeter than the victory was the fact that the Chiefs were heading to their first AFC Championship game since 1993. Unfortunately, the Chiefs lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship, but, as you know, we had not seen the last of Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, because the very next season they won the Super Bowl. But aside from winning it, they got there in style, too. 2020 felt a little like deja vu. They finished the regular season with a 12-4 record, and they dished out the biggest playoff defeat in the divisional playoffs. The only thing is that this time, they won by 20 points. And it wasn't the Indiana Colts getting shamed like this. It was the Houston Texans' turn. But here's the funny part. The Texans looked like they had the game in the bag. In the first quarter alone, they scored 21 points and didn't even allow the Chiefs a field goal. The Chiefs were in panic mode. Did they just finish top of their division just to get trashed by the Texans? Whatever went on in the Chiefs' locker room after the end of the first quarter must have been some pep talk straight out of a movie, because they reversed the deficit in just one quarter. All the Texans had to do was have just one good quarter like they did in the first. But the Chiefs didn't let that happen. Mahomes uncorked touchdown passes like he was pouring champagne at a yacht party. Travis Kelce turned into a red zone war machine, and suddenly the Texans' defense looked like it was doing cardio at the wrong job interview. In Week 9 of the 2020 to 2021 NFL season, the New Orleans Saints beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 38 points to 3. Why is this important? It was the biggest win margin in the regular season. What's worse is that this loss had the public questioning if Tom Brady should retire soon before an embarrassment like this happens again. But this wasn't an elimination game, and there was plenty of room for the Buccaneers to prove that the Saints just got lucky that day. So when the Buccaneers found themselves battling it out with the Chiefs for Super Bowl 55, they did the unimaginable. They gave the Chiefs the heaviest playoff defeat in 2021. Right from kickoff, Tom Brady showed out with pinpoint passes here and there. He sent 2 touchdown passes Rob Gronkowski's way. Antonio Brown added another, and suddenly the Chiefs found themselves in uncharted waters, trailing 21-6 at halftime. Patrick Mahomes, usually the captain of comebacks, was under siege. The Buccaneers' defense, orchestrated by Todd Bowles, turned the Chiefs' offensive line into a sieve. Mahomes was pressured on a Super Bowl record 29 dropbacks, leading to 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. Leonard Fournette, the Buccaneers' battering ram, dashed through the Chiefs' defense for a 27-yard touchdown, extending the lead to 28-9. The Chiefs' ship was sinking, and there was no lifeboat in sight. By the end of the game, Tom Brady had silenced his critics and proved that the Chiefs aren't all that at the end of the day. We've seen deja vu, we've seen karma play out, but you know what really produces heavy defeats? bitter rivalries fueled by hate, and that's what the 2022 playoffs gave us. Ask any Bills fan about the Patriots and they'll tell you about how they hate them to the bone.
Josh Allen with the highest guaranteed money in NFL history.
Do the same for the Patriots, and you'll get the same response. These two teams make the AFC East seem like the Wild West. And for a wild card game, it was pretty wild. The Buffalo Bills hosted the New England Patriots in a playoff showdown that would quickly turn into a one-sided affair. The Bills, fueled by past playoff disappointments and a desire to dethrone their longtime AFC East rivals, came out swinging and never stopped. Josh Allen was in video game mode, completing 21 of 25 passes for 308 yards and a franchise record 5 touchdowns. He even added 66 rushing yards for good measure. The Bills became the first team in the Super Bowl era to score touchdowns on each of their first 7 possessions in a playoff game, a feat that left the Patriots' defense looking like they were stuck in the snow. The Bills' defense wasn't just along for the ride. Safety Micah Hyde made a jaw-dropping, over-the-shoulder interception in the end zone, snatching away any momentum the Patriots hoped to build. Rookie quarterback Mac Jones was left shaking his head, finishing with 2 interceptions and a pair of late-game touchdowns that did little to change the narrative. Running back Devin Singletary added 2 rushing touchdowns, bulldozing through the Patriots' defense like a snowplow on a mission. The Bills amassed 482 total yards, averaging a staggering 9.1 yards per play to win the game, 47-17. A 30-point gap. You just know that this game was fueled by hate. As much as this game decided who would go to the divisional stage of the playoffs, it did set the record straight for who were the kings of the East in the AFC, and it definitely wasn't the Patriots. While the Patriots can live with not being the kings of the East, this one team got defeated so badly that maybe changing the franchise name would do them some good. We're talking about the New York Giants and the nightmare their fans lived through in 2023's NFC divisional round. The Eagles, fresh off a first-round bye, took flight early and never looked back. Jalen Hurts, nursing a shoulder injury but showing no signs of rust, connected with Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith for first-quarter touchdowns. The Eagles' offense was in sync, orchestrating drives that left the Giants' defense scrambling. Philadelphia's ground game was relentless. Kenneth Gainwell led the charge with a career-high 112 yards and a touchdown. While Miles Sanders added 90 yards, the Eagles amassed a staggering 268 rushing yards, the second most in franchise postseason history. On the other side of the ball, the Eagles' defense was ferocious. They sacked Daniel Jones 5 times and intercepted him once, courtesy of former Giant James Bradberry. The pressure was so intense, Jones faced a 64% pressure rate in the first half alone. The Giants managed a single touchdown in the third quarter, with Matt Breida finding the end zone, but it was too little, too late, as the Eagles continued to dominate in all facets of the game. By the end of all 4 quarters, the Eagles won by 31 points. Surely the Giants thought about forfeiting at some stage of the game, but so far we've talked about defeats that didn't happen recently, so they're not fresh on some people's minds. Like this next one, Houston may have moved on from what happened to them in 2020 with the Chiefs, but the Baltimore Ravens made sure they picked on an old wound until Texans fans bled. The Ravens hosted the upstart Houston Texans in a playoff clash that promised fireworks. But by the end, it was the Ravens who lit up the scoreboard, leaving the Texans grounded. The Texans came out blitzing, applying relentless pressure on Lamar Jackson. The Ravens' offense sputtered early, managing just 10 points in the first half. Houston's defense seemed poised to keep the game within reach, but the momentum shifted dramatically late in the second quarter. The Texans failed to score from the 1-yard line, turning the ball over on downs. Jackson then orchestrated a masterful 99-yard drive, capped by a touchdown pass to Isaiah Likely, giving the Ravens a 17-10 lead at halftime. The second half was all Baltimore. Jackson, showcasing his MVP form, threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for 2 more, amassing 252 total yards. The Ravens' offense scored on 4 consecutive drives, while the defense stifled Houston, allowing just 213 total yards and no offensive touchdowns. 34 points to 10 isn't bad considering the other atrocious defeats in this video, but if you ask any Texans fans, they'd rather miss the playoffs than see their team embarrassed like this again. These are the heaviest defeats in each of the last few NFL playoff seasons. Was your team featured in this video? And were they on the lower end of the scoreline or the other side? Let us know in the comments section. And if you like this video, check out our Kicker Throne channel for more content like this.